112-107 win at Charlotte. Sensational game for Anthony Davis. 42 points and 23 rebounds for AD. He had 21 points and 11 rebounds in the first quarter. The Lakers are at Philadelphia tonight. The Clippers lost by 2 at Phoenix, 111-109. A bright spot for the Clippers was seeing Kawhi Leonard play in the fourth quarter for the first time this season. Leonard played 6 minutes in the fourth, scoring 6 of his 17 points. Leonard has been on a minutes restriction to protect his right knee since he made his season debut on January 6th. He played a season-high 28 minutes last night. Tiger Woods is moving his Genesis Invitational Tournament to Torrey Pines in San Diego. The PGA event is February 13th to the 16th. Tiger normally hosts the tournament at the Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you, neighbor to neighbor, bringing you resources and what you need to know. Sign up for Notify LA on your phone to get fire danger alerts and updates, or check on lafd.org. The Watch Duty app is free and provides wildfire maps and updates in real time. Keep your gas tank full and plan your route in case you have to leave the area. City and county officials are urging you to pack a go bag so you can be ready to leave your home quickly in case of an evacuation order. Your go bag should include a couple of days of clothing, copies of your important documents and ID, money, insurance information, your medications, electronic devices, batteries, chargers, a small radio, and emergency contacts. If you receive an evacuation order, gather your loved ones, grab your bag, your pet food, and leave immediately. For information on shelters for your pets or even your family, call 211 for the City of Los Angeles and 311 county-wide. Wearing a mask outside will help protect you from smoke, toxic fume, and particulate matter. If you don't need to go out, it's best to stay home with the windows closed. Getting to know your neighbors is a great way to stay safe, stay connected, and share resources. And Angelinos are stepping up to help, so reach out and find the assistance you need. Mutual Aid LA Network is constantly updating a Google Sheet with mutual aid resources. You can find it at tiny.cc-malan-fire. The earlier you make a plan, the better off you'll be when every second counts. Praying for LA, preparing, and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
Live from historic Lamert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.com. That's thetavismiley.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, amateur historian Shara Moon on her debut historical fiction novel. It's called Let Us March On. It is the story of a real-life crusader named Lizzie McDuffie, who was a maid in FDR's White House, who went on to become a reluctant activist and spearheaded the civil rights movement of her time. It is a fascinating tale, and you do not want to miss our conversation with Shara Moon about Let Us March On in hour 2. For that matter, you don't want to miss hour 3 today either, because in our third hour,
in your eye, Candyland appears each time you smile. Never thought that fairy tales came true, but they come true when I'm near you. You're a genie in disguise.
The Stylistics join us today in hour 3 for a career conversation and to discuss their first new album in 2 decades. It's called Falling in Love with My Girl. 57 years, and the Stylistics are still making music. Ariane Love and Herb Murrell, 2 of the originals of the Stylistics, join us today in our third hour. In this first hour, 2 more conversations on the B-side of this hour.
Now, what I do find interesting is that when 30,000 Ukrainians sought asylum here in the city of Chicago, nobody said a mumbling word. But all of a sudden, indigenous people who are trying to get to a land that was robbed from them through colonization, they want me as a black man to be mad at them? You got to be out of your freaking mind.
You got to be out of your freaking mind. That's the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. On the backside of this hour, Nikki Marin Boehner on what to do if ICE shows up in your neighborhood. They've already started these raids in Chicago, and as you know, that's the start, not nowhere near the end of this mass deportation effort by the Trump administration. So if ICE shows up in your neighborhood, what do you do? We'll talk about it on the B side of this hour. We commence today's show, though, talking politics with the journalist Madison Gray, founder of Stark Raving Madison. Madison, good to have you on, sir. How are you today?
Hello, Tavis. How you doing, brother? Good to talk to you again.
Good to hear your voice, man. I'm doing well. Thank you for your time. Let me just ask this as an opening salvo. We'll jump from there. I've been asking everybody this question and likely will in the first 100 days. So at the outset, how are you reading this moment?
There's so much coming at us at one time, Tavis. I mean, we have the ICE controversy. Just today, we have the Trump executive orders on the military and all the things he's doing to curtail finances as far as loans and grants and things like that, which could affect student aid all the way to Medicaid. You know, a lot of things are going on right now. We also have a big controversy going back and forth in the black community on Target itself and DEI. Do we boycott or do we not boycott? Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of pertinent arguments on both sides of that. So there's just a lot to read up on, and I'm hoping that everybody's staying up on things.
Yep. Madison wrote a piece recently entitled, "It's Time for Democrats to Finally Go Low Against Mean MAGA Republicans." It's time for us to go low. You recall Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. I guess when they went low enough, she decided to dip out, so she didn't show up at the Jimmy Carter funeral, did not show up at the inauguration, so apparently somewhere along the way she changed her mind. But Madison argues that it's time for us now to go low. We'll let him unpack that when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage. But if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
No, this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Trashman didn't get my trash today. Oh, why? Because they want more pay. Buses on strike wanna raise and fare so they can help pollute the air. But that's what makes the world go round. The ups and downs of carousel, changing people's hands around. Go underground, young man. People make the world go round.
It's the Stylistics today in our third and final hour. Look forward to be joining conversation with two of the original members. Should be a great conversation today. A lot of music in our third and final hour today with the Stylistics. We continue our dialogue now in this first hour with Madison J. Gray, founder of Stark Raving Madison. And so I saw this piece, Madison, you wrote that suggests it's finally time for us to go low. All right, unpack it for me.
Well, you know what? I came in on that one actually from a conversation I saw on Don Lemon's show, where one of his writers, Peter Roslett, wrote an article in The Guardian, actually, comparing the Republicans going low with Michelle Obama saying whether or not we should stay high or go low. And I got to thinking, all right, maybe it is time to go low in a certain way.
Mhm.
Now, let me explain. If you ever studied martial arts, lots of martial arts tell you to get low. Use the ground to your advantage. Things like BJJ, Aikido, things like that, right? Broad metaphor here, but it is time to use strategy. Very ground-based strategy, something that everybody can understand, everybody can get with. I mean, do Democrats, do liberals need to be dirty about things? I wouldn't say so. Why? Because, they see that coming. But what I would say is that the strategy should be now for people to use their resources to get very, very granular and very, very ground-based. Barack Obama used the ground game to win the election twice, and it worked. I feel like it could happen again now if people are getting smart and people are getting strategic about the ground game.
Tell what Democrats are not doing in this moment. I asked that question in part because, as we all know, the Democratic Party is inching toward its election of a new chair. So eventually we'll have a titular head at least, of the Democratic Party. We're talking to all those persons running for DNC chair. Yesterday, Marianne Williamson was the first of those candidates who joined us on this program to share what she would do if she were elected chair of the DNC. But what are Democrats not doing in this moment? When you say a ground game, unpack that for me.
I think Democrats aren't being loud enough, not being aggressive enough. If you want me to be honest, I mean they are doing a lot of things, that are really pushing back. But I mean, what we need are the Jasmine Crockett's of the world, the AOCs of the world, to really get loud and let people know that there is a voice and that people are willing to push back. There are people out there who are making strides. Who are opening up doors where we think doors might be closed and everything. Hakeem Jeffries, he's right now, he's a minority leader and everything. Perhaps in a couple of years he might wind up Speaker of the House if we play our cards right. But right now I think it's time to be loud, vociferous, and it's time to bark back from all corners. And that means on the federal level, on the state legislative level, even on the municipal level.
Yep. We're talking about the stylistics today. They're our guest in our third hour, but let me pivot to the godfather of soul, James Brown, who said famously, talking loud and saying nothing. I hear your point about being loud. AOC can be loud. Jasmine Crockett can be loud, but if you ain't saying nothing, it don't mean nothing. What is the agenda at this point, Madison? That's what I'm missing.
Well, the agenda. I mean, if I'm going to give anybody agenda, believe me, I'm no political expert here. But if I'm going to give anybody agenda, speak loudly to us about strategy. Come up with your ideas with strategy. Ask the people for what their ideas are about strategy too, and then take it out to the broad base. Take it to the media. Take it to the floor of Congress. Say there is a strategy. We're not standing here and sitting here for nothing. And we're not going to sit here and just take anything you give to us. I really think that there should be an outline on day one, and day one is passed, about what the strategy is going forward. It's fine to go to social media and say all the things that we're mad about and everything, but after mad should come strategy. After mad should come action. And I think they should be talking action and talking step-by-step action, even in small form, what you could do on the local level, what you can do at your school, what you can do at your school board meeting, things like that.
What's your read of Donald Trump's first week? I mean, there's so many takeaways that we could dissect and discuss about the messages that were sent to all of us in week one. What were your takeaways from his first week?
Donald Trump wants to make sure that we're all terrified of him. That's what I get.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get. I mean, everything from the executive orders on immigration to DEI, all these things is to make sure that people think this guy is all powerful. Anything he says goes. But the truth of the matter, I feel like Donald Trump is not that powerful. All right, because we can push back. Eisenhower did not defeat black people in the 50s, all right? Nixon did not defeat black people in the 70s. Reagan did not defeat black people in the 80s. Donald Trump is not more powerful than black people in the 2020s. All we have to do is push back. All we have to do is vote. All we have to do is come up with strategy. We can vote with our feet and we can vote with our dollars.
Speaking of voting with our dollars, in this moment, and I'm trying to think of what guest I had another day that raised this issue, but in this moment, how effective and how selective should black people be about where they spend their money? And I ask that against the backdrop of all these companies that are turning away from diversity, equity, and inclusion. The list seems to grow every day with another company announcing that they're stepping away. I saw Target join that list this week. Walmart's been on that list. McDonald's on that list. It's a long list. Don't even get me started. Running the number of companies and the names of companies that have already said publicly that they, in this moment, in this era, are stepping away from their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. How selective should black people be about how we spend our money, where we spend our money over these next few years?
Well, first of all, we should always have been selective about where we spend our money. That we have a history of doing that. I think we should really bring that back. When I was a kid, there was a mall in suburban Detroit that was boycotted by the NAACP, and that boycott was extremely successful. They basically had Be Nice to Black People Day at this place, and it was so successful that we actually saw what our buying power is. I think that we can do this again. We can select all the companies that are saying we are going to stand 10 toes down on DEI. Costco, for example, said that. Al Sharpton had an entire day where he had people going into Costco saying, "Thank you, we're going to work with you." Other companies have also, Apple, I think J.P. Morgan Chase. There's a lot of these people that said we are going to still be with DEI. Jamie Dimon of J.P. Morgan Chase said, "Bring them on." He challenged it all. There is still going to be people trying to pressure people to accept a run away from DEI. But if companies stand on business and they don't run away from it, I think these are the companies that we can continue to spend our money with. But the second part of that is we also need to start looking at companies that we own, businesses that we own, and ordering directly from them. We can put our arms around these companies that may be losing out if they're still in Target or Walmart, and maybe losing profits or sales because we're boycotting. I think we can put our arms around these folks, order from them directly, or even lobby to get them into some of these other stores that will do business with us, haven't dropped DEI. So there are ways of moving these things around and moving our money around and directing where they go. I think the example of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street is one of the best examples that we have. People were keeping their money in the community and enriching themselves in the process. We should study that history and bring it back for 2025.
As you were talking, I was thinking about the fact that in every moment of chaos, there is always opportunity. And you were talking a moment ago about making sure in this moment that we support black businesses as these multinationals are turning their backs on any real commitment to diversity and equity and inclusion. And I'm down with that part, no question about it. But I wondered, to your mind, what this moment of chaos means in terms of opportunity for black people.
Well, the truth of the matter is, they say, even in the darkest times, there's always opportunity, and there are opportunities in this too. I think that we can start studying these companies. It dawned on me last night, as a matter of fact, that anybody can buy a single share of one of these companies. Target was trading, I think, last night for $142, I think. $142 is less than you spend at a night at Cheesecake Factory, One share, and that gives you the right to vote at their shareholder meetings. That gives you the right to go to the shareholder meetings and raise sand. Think of what would happen if, say, 100 of us bought shares at Target, Walmart, or any of these other places, and we actually started participating in their shareholder activities and made it so that they had to listen to us because they can't shut us up that way. No shareholders can be shut up. Those are the little things we can do. Those are the opportunities that we can take to make sure our voice is heard and that we push back, and they have to listen to us.
Yeah. Give me your take on how you are covering, for lack of a better word, this particular issue, this particular administration, I should say. There are issues every single day that need to be talked about. And I was in conversation with a journalist friend of mine yesterday. This stuff, to your earlier point, is coming so fast and so furious. You can't keep up with this stuff and nobody wants to be discussing Donald Trump every single day. What's your mindset about how to write about, how to cover these issues in your work?
Well, it's the job of journalists to keep the stuff covered. I mean, I get tired of it too. But, I stay, I have my time of the day where I monitor it. I go through the news cycle. I look at all my various news sources. I look in corners for things that people aren't really necessarily looking for. I go to foreign news sources to get what I need to do some of my writing at the various places I write and on my own platform. And I let that inform me and make it so that I'm able to give to my audiences what they need. So I never stop. But what I'm saying here, even I take a breather every day for a couple of hours. Do my little woosah and then get back to work and everything, because this is a fight.
Yeah.
This is a fight, and we're up against a lot. So there's no stopping to it. In our history, we didn't stop back in the day. There's no time to stop now.
Yeah, I guess the thing I'm wrestling with, I don't know how you're processing, but the thing I'm wrestling with is that post the election and Kamala's loss, I think people just sort of checked out. They knew that reality was setting in. Donald Trump wins this thing. He's going to be inaugurated on January 20th. So obviously we're past that point now. But to my mind, a lot of people just checked out politically, and I get it. Our politics can be draining, and these races for the White House take far too long, never mind the short runway that Kamala had. I think, as I've said many times, there's something to that. Our election cycle for the White House ought to be a lot shorter than it is. But to the point, people checked out after November the 5th. I'm just concerned that we're not checking back in fast enough, Madison.
Yeah, you know what? I get it too. People are tired. This past year was really exhausting, very exhausting. People are tired. People want some time to breathe. People want some time to say, like, all right, fine, this happened. We got to sit down and regroup. That's a completely understandable thing. But I would encourage everybody, at least in some small way, check back in. You don't have to be on Twitter if you don't want to, because Twitter has, changed a lot about itself. I don't think I have to even talk about that. But there are other places you can go. I spend a lot of time on Blue Sky myself. And there are other apps. Spill, that's another great app to go to, where it's your space, where you can talk to people, like-minded, and that are not necessarily echo chambers either. So there are places you can go in small number to actually get that engagement again. And you know what else? I would say, pick up an actual print newspaper if you have access to it. You'd be surprised how less that triggers you, than actually, having to see this on your phone where you're scrolling things all the time, and it's just going into your eyes and it's doing things to your head. Go to your library, go to your corner store, pick up a newspaper, and digest it a little bit at a time. That way, you're not all nerve-wracked about what's going on in the world and with the country, and you could sort of parse things out through your day.
He's journalist and founder of StarkWavingMadison.com. He is Madison J. Gray. Madison, thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate your insights. All the best to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for your time. Just getting started on today's program. When we come forward, we'll talk about what happens when ICE comes to your neighborhood. We'll talk with an amazing author in our second hour about this story of Lizzie, who was a maid in the FDR White House. I can't wait for hour two. And then the stylistics join us today in our third hour. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. New York State Trooper Thomas Massia and his parents have turned themselves in after Massia allegedly falsely claims he was shot. He faces charges of tampering with evidence, false reporting, and official misconduct. Detectives found cash and weapons at his family home during the investigation. The Kansas City area is experiencing the largest documented TB outbreak in U.S. history, with nearly 70 active cases and 80 latent cases where people are infected with tuberculosis bacteria but don't have the disease are confirmed. The opening bell rings after a massive tech sell-off led to a lower close on Wall Street. The Nasdaq fell over 3% due to AI competition concerns. Investors await earnings reports and the Fed's interest rate decision. And Bruno Mars is the first artist to surpass 150 million monthly listeners on Spotify. His latest track featuring Sexy Red was released on Friday. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Del Taco's new Chipotle Chicken Burrito and Bean Rice and Cheese Burrito, packed with flavor, made with fresh ingredients, and found on Del's Real Deals menu. You heard that right. These burritos on a value meal with everything under $3. Look at Del Taco, hooking us up.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers won their 4th straight with a 112-107 win at Charlotte. Sensational game for Anthony Davis, 42 points and 23 rebounds for AD. He had 21 points and 11 rebounds in the first quarter. The Lakers are at Philadelphia tonight. The Clippers lost by 2 at Phoenix, 111-109. A bright spot for the Clippers was seeing Kawhi Leonard play in the 4th quarter for the first time this season. Leonard played 6 minutes in the 4th, scoring 6 of his 17 points. Leonard has been on a minutes restriction to protect his right knee since he made his season debut on January 6th. He played a season-high 28 minutes last night. Tiger Woods is moving his Genesis Invitational Tournament to Torrey Pines in San Diego. The PGA event is February 13th to the 16th. Tiger normally hosts the tournament at the Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? HIMS can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You're alone all the time. Does it ever puzzle you? Have you asked why you seem to fall in love out again? Do you ever really love, or just pretend? Why fool yourself? Don't be afraid to help yourself. It's never too late to stop. Look, listen to your heart, hear what it's saying. Stop.
It's the Stylistics today in our third hour of Tavis Smiley. Looking forward to that conversation. 57 years of making hits, and they're still going. They have a new album out. First time in a long time they put out new music, but I'm excited about talking to the original members of the Stylistics in our third and final hour today. As promised right now, a conversation with Nikki Marine Baena about what to do if ICE comes to your neighborhood, to your business, your school, your church. Donald Trump was serious, and we must take him seriously about his commitment to this notion of mass deportation. They've already started these raids, and so we'll talk about what to do when they come into your neck of the woods. First, though, here's some sound from the mayor of Chicago with his thoughts about ICE.
Now, what I do find interesting is that when 30,000 Ukrainians sought asylum here in the city of Chicago, nobody said a mumbling word. But all of a sudden, indigenous people who are trying to get to a land that was robbed from them through colonization, they want me as a black man to be mad at them? You got to be out of your freaking mind.
You got to be out of your freaking mind, says Mayor Brandon Johnson in the city of Chicago. Nikki, what do you hear when you hear that clip?
Oh man, I just feel so moved by that clip. Yeah, I think I have been thinking a lot lately about how we talk about immigration in the U.S. and how we're only really telling part of the story when we only talk about ICE and immigration enforcement.
Mm-hmm. When you say we're only telling part of the story, what's the part that we're not telling?
Well, immigration, one thing is, and I think a lot of people don't know this, but immigration law is actually part of our administrative legal code. So it's kind of like tax law. Mm-hmm. So as you know, when someone has not complied with immigration law, we have an entire basically law enforcement unit, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, that has surveillance, has their own cars, has sometimes weapons, and the ability to go after people. We do not do that with people who do not pay their taxes in this country, as you know. Mm-hmm. And so I think that we might be in a better financial situation in the U.S. if we actually spent this effort going after tax law violators than immigration law violators.
The thing about that clip, I want to go back to that clip one more time. The thing about that clip from Brandon Johnson that really jumped out at me, and I know Brandon well. He's a friend and has been a guest on this program a number of times, the mayor of Chicago. But I heard that clip a couple of times, and what jumped out at me was that phrase, as a black man, you expect me? Mm-hmm. As a black man, you expect me? And that phrase, that phrase, Nikki, resonated with me because of the obvious, at least to my mind, which is that we understand. We understand what it feels like to be disaffected, to be disavowed, to be demeaned, to be disenfranchised. As black people, we understand that better than anybody else in this country. When you heard him say, as a black man, making clearly a kinetic connection to your community, how did you process that phrase?
Yeah, I felt very moved by that, and I think that sometimes I haven't actually heard us talk about that enough. Like the connections in our histories and the connections in what is happening. And I don't think it's a coincidence that one of the first executive orders that this administration has rolled out in the last week was around birthright citizenship, which is about the 14th Amendment. And I think that if we know about the history of the 14th Amendment, it's about who gets to count as people in this country.
No, an amendment clearly designed to address the issue of black folk back then, slaves and their progeny. So it clearly we are at the epicenter of any conversation about the 14th Amendment. I take your point. As you look around, back to that phrase again, as a black man, as you look around in this moment, are you heartened by or dismayed by the allies that are signing up or not signing up with your community in this particular moment for this particular struggle? What are you seeing?
I am so heartened by it, and I think that part of what we're trying to do, we put out a resource called Defend and Recruit, which people can check out at defendandrecruit.org, and it's about how people who are not necessarily immigrants can show up for immigrant communities. And I've been very heartened by the response we've gotten from non-immigrant communities, and particularly from people in the Black community, to support. And I think what we're trying to do, we're in this moment of high panic. So lots of people are sharing rumors about ICE presence. And what we know that people are just trying to help. So part of what we're trying to do is help them channel that willingness to help into things that are actually productive. So
you teed me up quite nicely for the following question. What can, then, non-immigrants do, Nikki?
So one of the things there's several things. One is, if you're going to share information, I know there's lots of stuff going around right now on social media, on WhatsApp, and one thing that I think is easy to do is not share information unless you saw it with your own eyes or you know directly the person who saw it with their own eyes. So that's one thing that's easy to do. And the other thing is to find out if there is a rapid response network in your community. And if not, we can, through Defend and Recruit, we can help you start one. But basically the idea of that is if there is someone who thinks that they saw ICE presence, to have a place where people can go and verify that information and then get that out into the community if it's true. And the reason that we do that is because oftentimes what we have seen is ICE agents detain people without having an actual judicial warrant with that person's name on them. And they call that a collateral arrest. It's basically whoever they found on the way to the person that they're looking for. So they call that collateral.
I could have asked this question 2 seconds ago or two minutes ago. Let me ask it now. The website is called Defend and Recruit. You gave us a sense of what we can find at the website. But why those two words, defend and recruit? What are we defending and who are we recruiting?
Well, we are defending immigrant communities from unjust detention. And so we are trying to make sure that ICE follows the proper protocols. We're not trying to get in the way of them doing their job, but we are trying to make sure that they are following the proper protocols. So that's what we mean by defend. And in terms of recruit, I think that we see the situation. We have to be building for the long term. And there's a lot of things that we have to be building to change in our communities. And so it's not just about this moment and what we can do in this moment, but how do we build to get the changes that we all know that we need in our communities, particularly for working people.
All right, so when we come forward with Nikki Marine Baina, who is with Sierra NC, we're going to ask her that question directly. What are those ICE proper protocols? I've never had to deal with ICE. I've never run into an ICE agent, to my knowledge, so I don't know what I would do if ICE showed up at my door looking for somebody in this building. What are those proper protocols? And what do you do if ICE shows up at your church, your school, your business, or in your neighborhood? We'll get a direct answer to that and more when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, and I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Freedom is an endless meeting, so let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Now, what I do find interesting is that when 30,000 Ukrainians sought asylum here in the city of Chicago, nobody said a mumbling word. But all of a sudden, indigenous people who are trying to get to a land that was robbed from them through colonization, they want me as a black man to be mad at them? You got to be out of your freaking mind.
I love that clip. It's Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago. I played it again in case you didn't hear it the first time because the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee has launched an investigation now. No surprise here, Republicans back up to their tactic of investigating everything. So they're investigating these policies in so-called sanctuary cities like Chicago, Boston, Denver, New York, etc., that prohibit local law enforcement from cooperating with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents on the Trump administration's mass deportation efforts. These mayors, including Brandon Johnson, have been asked to testify before the House committee on February the 11th and to hand over all documents and communications related to their city's sanctuary policies. So the Trump administration, the Department of Justice, is not holding back going after these leaders, these elected officials, these mayors, for pushing back against their mass deportation efforts. How ugly, Nikki, in that regard, do you expect this to get?
They've already done a few things that we find concerning, such as saying that what had been historically considered protected areas, such as schools, churches, hospitals, are no longer protected. That ICE agents can use their discretion to detain people in those places. So I think we're already seeing things that are concerning.
So what does that mean? I hear you, but I want to understand, make sure the audience understands what that means, that heretofore areas that were protected, hospitals and schools and churches, what does it mean now that ICE can just bust up into these sort of sacred spaces?
Well, one thing that I think people don't know is that they still really should have a judicial warrant, a warrant signed by a judge with a person's name that they're looking for, before they just kind of show up somewhere and bust down a door. And I think that some people don't know that that's something that they can ask for or demand before letting the ICE agents in or before stepping out of their car. And so one of the things that we're really working on is people knowing that, okay, if they knock on your door, you can ask them to show the warrant. They can slip it under the door. This applies to homes. It also applies to businesses. If you have a restaurant, they can come into the public part where people are eating, but to go in the back to the kitchen area, they need to produce a warrant. And so some people don't know that that's a thing that they can ask for, but you absolutely can.
So you ask for the warrant, you look at it, and then what do you do?
Then you can say, well, we'll bring that one person out. And so you don't, you still don't have to, if they have a judicial warrant or the search warrant, then, obviously they have permission from the judge to search an area.
Right.
But what we find is that oftentimes they don't have that before they try to come into a place.
Yep. And if they do have it, they can only take out the persons who are listed on the warrant. They can't round people up in the kitchen or wherever they may be.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay. Our remaining moments with Nikki Marine Baina when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Progressive knows we all crave validation.
Girl, you are not 37.
I would have guessed 27.
You guys are too sweet.
Sure, dewy skin. Terrific.
Is something wrong, Ned?
Why would you ask? Just because today marks my 10th anniversary without a car accident or even a speeding ticket? But somehow, tonight's all about your skincare. Wow.
With Snapshot from Progressive, you can get a personalized rate based on how you drive. And that's all the validation you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. Benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed. Just 3 minutes left here with Nikki Marine Baena talking about these raids that are now underway in Chicago and beyond, courtesy of the Trump administration, keeping its word to engage this mass deportation effort. And now there are hearings scheduled for February 11th on the Hill, calling in mayors of sanctuary cities and demanding that they bring in documents and communications related to their city's sanctuary policy. So this is going to get worse and much uglier before it gets any better. How successful do you expect that the Trump administration will be, Nikki, delivering on these mass deportations that they've promised?
Well, I think that there are parts of this that they can control. They can certainly try to staff up immigration and customs enforcement and deport a lot of people. I think that some of that will take some time. I think there's also things that they can do. You know, what we've seen in the last few days is a lot of panic and chaos as these rumors spread throughout our communities. And Stephen Miller has openly said that one of the goals of the administration is what they call self-deportation. So basically people getting so afraid that they choose to leave on their own. And so I think that that's another thing that we really have to watch out for, because we can all play a part in minimizing the chaos so that immigrants can feel safe in their communities.
Let me ask you in that regard whether or not you expect that the numbers of those who choose to self-deport will rise.
I think that they certainly could, especially given the climate of all of these executive orders and the investigations into sanctuary cities. And I wanted to say one thing about that, which is, you know, people like Mayor Brandon Johnson were elected fair and square, and this is a way that we're seeing the administration intervene on, the will of the people in different parts of the country.
Yeah. To your mind, are there enough electeds who you're seeing who are stepping up with the kind of courage, the kind of commitment that Brandon Johnson is showing in Chicago?
I think that we're seeing it show up in different ways. I feel so proud of the 22 state attorneys who filed a lawsuit against the birthright citizenship executive order. And so I think we're seeing people step up in different ways, and I think we'll continue to see people step up in different ways.
We shall see. Her name is Nikki Marine Baena. She is co-director of the immigration rights group Siembra NC. Again, we're all keeping our eyes on these mass deportation promises of the Trump administration. And while it may, at first glance, seem this is a conversation that shouldn't or may not matter to you, it really does. Because, again, they're coming into churches and schools and businesses and neighborhoods around the country. And I suspect at some point we may be impacted or certainly be witness to these kinds of efforts by ICE to deport persons who we would call neighbors and colleagues and even friends. So we'll see how this all unfolds in the weeks and months to come. Nikki, thank you for your work. Good to have you on. All the best to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
My honor. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with